Welcome everyone, a very warm welcome to you all to the IGF Women in Forum, inspiring to aspire. My name is Laura Buckwell and it's a great pleasure to be your host for this segment of the show, a very important segment of the show, might I add, here at the wonderful Taj Exotica, The Palm. Well, it's the second day of the IGF Forum UA, and so far we've had a forum on entering into the new era, that was yesterday, disruptors in the desert last night, I hear, and a founders and funders forum today. And we're also hosting the IGF studio, where I've just come out from actually, just next door, and that's ongoing as well over the next couple of days. However, now, ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention now to women. And over the next couple of hours, we're going to be meeting entrepreneurs, business leaders, and senior government officials who are really driving essential positive change and answering that age-old question, can women have it all? Well, just to let you know, we are, of course, broadcasting live through all of our media partners. And also, to join the conversation, please do use our hashtag, which is IGFUAE. Now, as we know, India Global Forum is where India meets the world and where the world meets India. Right, something to think about though, ladies and gentlemen, just before we get started. Did you know that if women participated in the economy identically to men, it would add up to 28 trillion US dollars, or 26% of annual GDP by 2025. That's compared with a business as usual scenario. And this economic potential is highest in developing countries. That's according to KPMG. When looking across to India, according to McKinsey Global, the country could potentially add 700 billion US dollars to global GDP by increasing women's participation in the workforce. Some shocking figures there, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot to think about as well. One thing is certain is that there is definitely still an uneven playing field as well. And that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen, to dissect some of the main issues still holding women back and how we can bridge the gap with our incredible lineup of speakers. Well, on a more positive note, we start the Women in Forum with a conversation on the changing role of women in Indian cinema. Over the last few decades, there has been a significant transformation in the way that women are portrayed through film as a reflection of changes in social structure. And who better to tell her story than a Bollywood actress who's here with us here today? From action and thrillers to drama and comedy, our next guest has done it all. It's a great pleasure, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome on stage as our first guest. Please do give a very warm welcome to Sanya Malhotra. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much.
So wonderful to have you in the forum today. So we cannot thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule, I'm sure. So thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Brilliant.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. What a great crowd we've got here as well. Thank you to everyone for coming out. A really nice mix of men and women, actually, which is great. Really good. Right, let's get started. So let's start with your journey as a Bollywood actress. So how did you get started? And also, how was it sort of navigating Bollywood as a woman?
I started my Bollywood journey, this is 7 years back, with my debut in Dangal, where I portrayed the character of Babita Kumari. I'm sure most of you have seen the film. I hope you all have seen the film. If not, it's available on Netflix. Please do watch it. So that was my debut, which is 7 years back. And since then, I've been navigating in this industry by choosing some diverse roles. And I've also had a good fortune to have worked with some exceptionally talented filmmakers. I have done films like, and characters like in Paglet, and Pataka, where women in India and all parts of India can see themselves in those characters. And I just feel very honored to have gotten those opportunities. As a woman in Bollywood, I think it's essential for me to be selective, to look for projects which align with my political and personal and artistic levels. So I think I've been very lucky and fortunate to have worked in some really good projects.
And it's important to be authentic and not to sell out, you know,
Right.
for anyone, of course. So some of your most recent films, I've been reading, I had a little Google, are Mrs. And that's the life of a married girl who finds her identity through navigating her life in the kitchen. And then we go all the way across to an action thriller, Jawan. And so we've got two very different movies putting women in two very different lights, but
Right.
putting and maintaining empowerment at the heart of it.
Right.
So how do you choose the characters and the people that you want to portray? How and why is that important to you?
So Mrs. is not out yet. We are doing a round of international film festivals. It got premiered at Tallinn Black Film Festival in Estonia in a few weeks back. And Jawan, I'm sure you all have seen it because it stars the biggest superstar in Bollywood, which is Shah Rukh Khan, and I feel very honored to have worked with him.
Wow.
Mrs. and Jawan indeed represent two very different facets of women's experience. Mrs. focuses on finding the independence and identity within the domestic sphere, and Jawan focuses on finding empowerment through like action-oriented roles. These two are very different films and very beautifully captures the diversity and emotions of women. And I think as an actor, I make sure that I'm choosing characters which are breaking and challenging the usual stereotypes. And these are the films that these two are beautiful, and it actually captures how diverse women are and how the cinema is changing and how people are writing more different characters for us as actresses.
Also, you know, contemporary films now very much portray women as more confident and ambitious and career-oriented as well. So how are the changing characters portrayed in film, how are they sort of linked with the emerging status of women in India right now?
I think in recent films, there's a refreshing reflection of what is going on in the society. The characters portrayed as independent, career-oriented, confident is actually a mirror of what is going on in the society right now in India. It's a genuine reflection of the societal changes that we are going through. And I think, as an actor, I think it's very important for me to pick roles like Mrs. Or Pataka, or Paglet, or Kathal. So these are the kind of films that we see, and these are the kind of women that we see around us. And I feel that cinema does a very beautiful role in shaping and putting light to such stories and to such characters.
So what are the most significant changes you've noticed since you started your career? Have those roles of women changed since you started? Or maybe when you were a young girl watching Bollywood yourself? Or what have you noticed?
Many. I think there's a refreshing and encouraging shift in the kind of roles that are being written and being offered to women in our industry. As I said, there are films, for example, Babita Kumari in Dangal, she defies the norms of a patriarchal village. Sandhya in Paglet finds independence and finds herself after the death of her husband. And Dr. Iram finds injustice and puts light on the corruption that is going on in the medical system. So I feel there's so much that is going on. This shift, I think it's a golden period. I was just talking to someone here and I told them it's a golden period for us as actors because there's so much that we can experiment with the rise in OTT and the kind of films that we are writing. There's so much experiment that we can do and so many women behind the camera and behind so many directors and writers writing just the perfect characters for us is putting women in the right way and representing women in the right way on screen.
Bit of a difficult question, but who has been your favourite character to play to date? Who's been the most fun and sort of empowering?
I think my debut, Babita, and Sandhya in Paglet. Sandhya, for sure, like I think it kind of changed me. It was inspiring and I saw so many people and so many women getting inspired by that character. Definitely a life-changing opportunity, I would say.
And why was it so inspiring? Tell us more about the character.
So Sandhya is someone who finds her own self, her identity, the sense of freedom after she loses her husband. That's when she realizes that she has never taken her own decisions. There are other people who have been taking her decisions on her behalf, whether it's what she should do, what she should study, what she should wear, to who she should get married to. And after I did that film, I think Paglet, it's on Netflix, and I met so many women who could relate to her, who could see themselves in that character, and I think that was kind of the validation. That's the ultimate validation for an actor, I think.
And it's nice to have those reflections, and you want people to sort of understand and sympathise and connect with a character, don't you? That's the whole sort of point.
Right.
So yeah, brilliant. What further changes do you want to see when it comes to women in cinema, both behind and in front of the camera? As you mentioned, of course, you've got a whole crew of lots of women behind the camera as well. So what sort of significant changes do you feel still need to be made?
More opportunities for women in front and behind the camera. More producers, directors, and writers can help with a more nuanced representation of women on screen. I think by working together as women, we can create more opportunities. I worked with Aarti Kadhav, my director, in Mrs. My film is going to release in 3 days. Meghna Gulzar directed it. It's called Sam Bahadur. It's a biopic on Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. And I think women get so much empathy to whatever they do. And I think it's a different ball game altogether. I think by working together, we can create so much for each other. We can really focus on women from all parts of India, really put light there and make sure that we are covering every aspect and diversity of women.
So obviously we spoke a little bit about your Bollywood journey, but what have been the main sort of complexities and obstacles that you found just because you're a woman? Has that been an issue, or has it been quite plain sailing? I mean, yeah, tell us a bit more about that landscape over in Bollywood.
To be honest, as I said, it's a golden period for me as an actor. For me, I'm very selective with the kind of roles that I'm picking to do. I know it's not easy because I have to keep my politics and the things that I like in forefront whenever I'm getting offered to do a film. I'm very careful with how I want to represent women on screen because growing up, I don't think so I saw women being represented on screen properly. I feel we were easily replaceable by props. There were not many nuanced scripts and characters being written for women. There was no depth to it. And I think that shift kind of happened with years, and with Dangal I realized that because I started off with such an unconventional role, which really put me out there. I had to cut my hair. It was not a conventional debut at all. That was kind of a foundation, a conditioning for me as an actor. I thought that if I have gone all out for my debut, then it's okay. I can like experiment and stick to what my values are and my views are going forward. So definitely not an easy one, but I think a very fulfilling one, for sure.
And have you had quite a supportive family structure to get into this industry as well? Because a lot of families don't really like, you know, Bollywood or going into acting, you've got to get serious jobs and things like that, you know. There's a stereotype to that as well.
Right.
So have you had quite a supportive family going into what you love?
I did, but for years I didn't tell them that I want to become an actor. I was quite reticent growing up, and so I lived in Delhi and was born and brought up there. And after my graduation, there was a period where I was trying to break this news to my parents that, listen, I always wanted to become an actor. All of this was like my plan B. So after my graduation, I participated in this dance reality show, thinking that I might get picked up from there to become an actor, which didn't work out. And I'm glad it didn't. But after that, I came back to Delhi and I told my father. My mother was really not happy with that news. She was like, no, please, will you complete your post-graduation, complete your studies, and then do whatever you want to. But I couldn't wait. And I'm glad I didn't. But my father was quite supportive, and I moved to Mumbai after that. I'm going to complete my 10 years in Mumbai this December. And I think it wasn't an easy shift, definitely, but I think I'm someone who looks for challenges. I'm someone who is always constantly looking for opportunities that will really push me out of my comfort zone. And I'm glad that I took that decision 10 years back.
That's the thing, you've got to take these risks in order to possibly be successful in any sense, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about, actually. That's the theme of a lot of our discussions is, you know, women need to take more risks. Do you think that's quite important for women to just bite the bullet?
Definitely. As I said, if you don't take risk, if you're not pushing yourself, if you're not pushing yourself out of your own comfort zone, there'll be no growth. And I'm constantly pushing myself, not only with acting, but with this too. I've never done this before, and I'm very nervous. My hands are shaking. I shouldn't have had coffee, but I'm going to do this again. Even if this is not nice, I'm going to work on it. I'll make sure that I'll prepare myself better the next time. And I think we need to constantly do that.
And it's good to share knowledge. That's why we're here at the end of the day, is to share your knowledge, to inspire people, to inform them.
Right.
So just before my last question, I'd like to know a little bit more about sort of women in senior leadership positions within Bollywood. Is that, you know, getting a little bit more advanced? Are we seeing a lot more sort of heads of these channels and things as well? Or is it still quite male-dominated?
No, it's not. Amazon is head by a woman. Netflix is head by a woman, and so many other production houses. I think I'm so glad that things are changing. There's so much, as I said, sympathy and empathy that women get when they're working. And as I said, it helps in a more nuanced representation for women on screen, which we really need. That change was needed in Bollywood, and I think these are the stories that resonate with the audience today. And we are getting the validation from the audience. Audience is also dissing the content that is not working, is not something that they can't relate to anymore. So these are the women that they want to see on screen. Women like Sanya in Paglet or Babita in Dangal. So I think that things are changing, and changing for good.
And just my last question, actually I've got a couple more questions, but what is your advice to any sort of budding, you know, female actresses that are really desperate to get into this this world of Bollywood, this amazing world of Bollywood? What is your advice to young women today?
My advice to aspiring actresses would be to stay true to yourself, to challenge the stereotypes, to embrace the opportunities that you're getting. Surround yourself with supportive people and keep working on your craft.
And my sort of final question is, do you think, I mean, I said it right at the beginning, you know, we're going to talk about, can women have it all? How do we juggle, you know, family, friends, social life, work, passion? Can women have it all?
Of course we can. I think that's when we need all of us to work together. It's not a gender thing. If we work together towards it, of course we'll be able to achieve it all.
That's all we have time for. It's been a great pleasure, an absolute delight that you've managed to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Sanya Malhotra. Thank you.